DJ PK, we're joined once again by RSL head coach Pablo Mastroeni. They're headed to Seattle this weekend. If they win, they clinch a playoff berth. Pablo, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Pablo, I know you don't like to concentrate on the outcome, right? You only get the outcome if you want. If you handle each one of the 5,400 moments during the game, every second matters. I've heard this from you. I've heard players repeat it. How do you make sure the players are feeling that this week when the prize is sitting right there?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, again, a lot of it, too, is making sure that, that the guys are still enjoying their football, and it comes from a place of feeling. We often talk about how does this feel? How does this moment feel in games? So we're watching tapes, and it's not so much about the tactical stuff, but what's the feeling like when you guys are knocking the ball around like this and you're moving the ball collectively and you're moving together with it? And so it's really about also creating a feeling during training. And the last couple of days, whilst it's been, we always set up everything serious. Everything's a really disciplined, process-oriented environment. There's got to be a bit of levity to it, a bit of fun, a bit of joy, and the guys have been playing with that. And I think there's got to be a good balance. Too much one way, and it's not serious enough. Too much the other way, and you get paralysis by analysis, and that's the last thing we want in these high pressure moments. And I think the guys have found in the last couple of days a good balance of the two.
The other night after the game, you were talking about you want the guys to have courage on the ball, and I was fascinated by that expression. Could you elaborate?
Yeah, I think, again, I think it goes back to this concept of playing with fear and then playing with the desire to be great. And I think in order to be the best team we can be with the ball, you've got to make plays, and you've got to be courageous. And there's moments where the space is small, but it looks even smaller, or the space is small, but it looks like it's achievable to penetrate with the pass or penetrate with the dribble. And so I think that's what courage is all about. And going down the stretch, I think we have to be a team that, as you saw in the last game, our best defense is when we have the ball. And so when we're courageous with the ball and we're brave with it, we can find ourselves attacking a lot more than we're defending against the ball. And I think that's really important for us. So going away from home, we're going to have to find moments of bravery in front of the goal in our build. And then also we're going to also be asked to defend. But I think being courageous with the ball will put a lot of things in place that we need to be in the best position to get a result.
I thought the moment that you talked about that really everyone could see in their head if they back it up. I'm always fascinated when there's a goal, you back it up and you think, okay, what really happened here? Right? Mm-hmm. And the ability to defend and get the ball back when it looked like, oh, maybe they've got the ball, maybe they're going to break out. And Katranis has it, and he clips in a ball, which would have been so easy to just knock into the stands. I mean, he could, from where he was, that would have been so easy. There's adrenaline, there's an opportunity. And Cruz settled it so well with that first touch. It just felt like in that moment they were in the zone. You see heavy touches and clunky touches, and Cruz turned, everything. Diogo's finish, all of it. I was thinking that's what you're talking about. You got to lose yourself in the game, keep defending, then the moments come and you just make these plays. And really, I don't know why, except for what you just said, why Diego Luna would try to split some of the double teams he splits. I don't know why Katranis would try to play that ball where he did and why Cruz would do what he did with it, except that I guess that goes back to what you said about being courageous, express yourself, the joy, and do what you know you're capable of, because that was pretty slick 3 seconds of soccer right there.
No, it was awesome. And again, DJ, you think about how many times we get in those positions in games. And I guess that's what I'm always alluding to when I'm saying making plays, is operate from a place of courage, operate from a place of flow, and just make it happen, because we get in those positions a lot. And like you said, there's often times where we're going to make different decisions based upon the individual's emotional state. Is it high pressure, and the way you alleviate those high intense moments is just to do and not think, and just to flow. And in that play, those three players connected in a way that was just seamless. And so the more we can operate from that place, obviously, the better chances we have to win games.
How does a player really in any sport get to the level where he or she is not overthinking, that it boils down to intuition and the feel in the moment?
That's a great question, PK. I think a lot of that has to do with experience as well. I don't think it comes naturally to the guys that are just cutting their teeth. I think there's so many variables. And then the biggest one is pressure. And you'll notice, like, there's young kids that have great careers, high school, college, and they get to the pros, and just the pressure becomes too big to perform. And so one of the ways that that I keep trying to impart on our players is the way you train Monday through Friday has to be so intense. It has to be so game-like without, obviously, the fans and the pressure, that when you get into Saturday, you're just operating from a place of just flow, of just of your training habits, right? But if those training habits aren't really good, and then you get into a high-pressure environment, those skill sets are going to crack under pressure. You can't pump yourself up for games. You always fall to the level of your training. And I think that's something that we talk about incessantly in this, and with the guys, is that's why Tuesdays are the most important days, and Wednesdays, because everything you do on these days, whether it's a passing exercise and how deliberate you are with your body shape and your first touch and the execution of your pass and then your second action, these are all things that become habits. And then when you get to Saturday, you just do what you've been doing the rest of the week. And I think that's the easiest way to get these younger players to understand how to get into that flow state quicker.
PK lectures us incessantly on this point, and it's probably just his nature as a Thunderbird high graduate. You people are all just probably wired at a higher level than the rest of us. But he talks about how sports should be fun and quit being so angry after games and quit being so mad and like, it's just letting, And it was really driven home to me. Well, it's been driven home a few times. I have a friend that I coached youth soccer because we had kids the same age, and it turned out this guy was from San Diego, so I totally bonded with him, right? We rooted for the same teams, knew the same places. Mm-hmm. And he had to move back to San Diego to take care of his aging parents, which I'm sure was not in his life plan, and moving his kids in high school. And I talk to him once or twice a week, usually after your training sessions or after games. And he just, what did Diego Luna say today? What's Pablo talking about? It's like, it's his escape. And you think like when Christmas rolls around, right? And you get a gift for parent, kid, sibling, friend, whoever, right? And like you want them to like the gift, right? And when they do, you end up feeling great. And I was thinking about PK's incessant, stop getting so angry about sport. It's funny he gets angry when he says stop being angry. That's the hilarious part of it. But I'm wondering, like, do players, and you're probably going to tell me no because you've often told me players are just thinking about this game in the next moment. I just wonder if they get any joy from how much joy they give people. The thought, you said once, no one cares that I play in the World Cup except my dad. And I thought, that is the biggest lie, Pablo. Now, maybe you have to tell yourself that I get it through the day, but no way, man. There are people who run into you who walk away and think, he played in the World Cup. I just talked soccer with him. That was awesome. I just don't know if you or your players get the joy you bring in. And if you knew that, maybe it'll lessen some of the quote unquote pressure of these big games.
Mm-hmm. No, I think they do. I think when the guys are playing well as a collective, more likely than not, they've played well as individuals, right? And I think when all that comes together, there's reason to celebrate, and they know that they're giving joy to the fans and to the people at the club and everyone that they represent, the staff, that behind the scenes that do a lot of great work and that whose hands are on the players at all times, and maybe not they don't get the recognition. So I really do believe that as players and coaches, the joy that we bring when and again, I think it's got to be the cumulative effect of playing well as an individual, how that translates to the collective, getting a result for the club, all these things, and then of course. But I think but if you're a real professional and you don't play really well individually, whilst you're celebrating after wins, there's a part of you that's going, man, next week I really got to dial it in because I want to get better and I want to keep reliving these moments, as a collective. So I do believe that they understand and how much joy they bring to people.
All the stuff that has gone on, and I could use another word to describe this season, but I can't because we have FCC regulations. But with all that in mind, if there is a postseason, what level of satisfaction would that be?
Yeah, I think it would be a huge sigh of relief and also a bit of inspiration, because there was moments where it was really bleak, and even just getting the guys going and on a Tuesday session after losing a bad game, whether we had a lead and we lost it or we just couldn't get on the board. There was moments that were really trying, as a group, both players and coaches. And so to be able to get this far and put ourselves in position where we control our own fate is a pretty powerful thing. And I think it speaks to the leadership that we have in the locker room, the belief we have as coaches, the work that we do as a collective on the field every single day. And then also being steely enough to get these last couple of results where we needed them to put ourselves in this position speaks volumes to the mindset of the group. So I think it'd be quite the fight back, the perseverance, the resilience of a group to find themselves in postseason. But having said that, we still have to take care of business in these last two games.
Yeah.
You are very open usually about the team and what's going on and the sport and everything. You take a lot of questions and you just roll with them most of the time. I did notice Tuesday, though, the cards were pretty close to the chest there, and there was a little twinkle in the eye. I also thought that when you didn't want to divulge formation lineup, and I get all that, you also I was thinking, well, it is Tuesday, and given the way he talks about the training, the way you've just talked about training in this interview, he may not be completely sure. He's got an idea what he wants to do, but the guys have to go out and prove him right in his mind, right? That these guys can really execute that way. So now, sitting here at the end of the week of training with the hay in the barn and all that, did you see what you expected? Do you know what you want to do? And is it all locked up?
Yeah, no, I think it is. And you're right. There's definitely some question marks. I think we kind of solidified that. And I guess the reason why I was kind of holding it close to the vest, DJ, as well, is because they have a lot of guys missing. We have quite a few important players missing. And so there's this element of it's really like the one opportunity to kind of be like, well, we don't know what, to throw a little surprise at Seattle, right? Because you can look at all the tape you want from the previous 32 games and you're not going to have a clue as to what we're going to do come Saturday. So I'm pretty excited about it. And, I hope it does, provide an element of surprise to them and put them on their heels a little bit, if not for the whole game, for moments in the game.
Well, Pablo, good luck Saturday. We'll be watching to see how this all plays out. And then, of course, it's not over. You got another one after that in St. Louis. And then the regular season will be complete. Pablo, thanks for the time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Pablo Mastroeni, RSL head coach, joining us right here on The Zone. I would think a high level of satisfaction should be taken, PK, to answer your question.
Yeah, it's just that they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, they haven't. You're right.
So I understand he was a little hesitant.
Sure. Yeah. And I would think, the sigh of relief, I get that. But there ought to be a lot of satisfaction.
And that's a coach's response so many times.
It is.
There's more relief than joy for these guys and ladies who coach.
I get
it's
that.
It's just the way it is, man. I've been around it a long time.
I think all the soccer people, not just him, his assistant coaches, obviously, but also the front office that had a super limited budget and had to find somebody. They found Cabral on a free transfer, and I expect he's going to be named the team MVP. It could be Luna, but I think it'll be Cabral.
Oh, it'd be either or.
Yeah.
Since he's been here the whole time.
Right. And they got someone that, and they didn't pay a gazillion-dollar transfer fee. I was like, here, you can't have any money. Go find somebody. Like, oh, thanks for that. And then they did.
Yeah.
And I know other guys were misses, but if you're out there looking for a bunch of 18 and 20-year-olds and guys who are on free transfers, you're going to have misses. So, but to your point, it's not done yet. So we'll see how these last 2 weeks go. DJ and PK coming up. Hode Rubino's going to join us. Devil's Digest on 3.com. You may not have seen it last night. You might be waking up to the news that Arizona State's starting quarterback, Sam Leavitt, has been downgraded from probable to, is it questionable or doubtful?
It's doubtful. Kenny Dillingham just went on Phoenix radio here in the last 20 minutes, and he's talking about it.
Yeah.
And Yock's working on getting the sound.
Okay, so we'll get that for you. And Hode Rubino, Devil's Digest on 3.com. We'll talk what that means with the backup, Jeff Sims, getting a call, 6-year starter. Six-year senior, then a backup, stepping into a starting role.
6-year starter.
Yeah, right. He has started 26 games, but not a lot the last couple of years. All right, DJ and PK, more in a moment, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.